No,
which was a little scary.
I
That's
do. I guess it's just me, but I don't know. With the kids and everything around too, like, I never leave guns laying around the house ever, whether they're loaded or unloaded. If they're unloaded, they're downstairs in the safe. I have two guns I keep loaded at all time, and they're in my upstairs safe. So, but I know when I pull that gun out of the safe, yeah, it's loaded. But I still do kind of press check it just to make sure, like, whether
I learned
whether she came in and unloaded it, or you know what I mean.
when I was 18. I learned to check the gun every time I pick it up, regardless of what I
Yeah.
think, because I unloaded when I didn't know shit about shit. I like took my Beretta and unloaded it and put it in my gun case when I was at the shooting range with my friend, and he was like, "Hey, can I use that?" I'm like, "Ah, whatever, fine." And then I go home that night and I kind of forgot that that whole interaction had taken place. I just knew that I put my unloaded gun in this case. I know that. So I take it apart and there's a round in the
Oh
chamber.
fuck.
Like after I disassembled it, and I'm like, fuck. Like then I thought like, oh yeah, my friend used it.
Yeah,
That's when I learned that
I do.
we're
I
gonna
do
check
that
every
though. I
time. I
mean,
was like, if I was
yeah,
taking apart a Glock right now, this might have been a different story.
it's been a bad deal. But yeah, my loaded ones. I mean, I'll because I'll wear the gun with me everywhere, and then at the end of the day or the evening time or whatever, I'll pull it off and I leave the gun in the holster, and I just take the whole holster, the whole assembly out, and I just put it in the safe and shut the door, and then when pull it back out, put it on the next day. But like any of my other guns down in the safe, yeah, as soon as I pull it out of the bag, I'll rack the slide, make sure everything's clear, put it in the safe, and then the next time I get it out, I pull it out of the safe. I do the same thing. Typically, it's because I'll rack the slide, make sure it's empty, and I'll dick around with the trigger, or you know, dry fire it a couple, 3 or 4 times before I toss it in the bag and go to the range. So I don't know. I'm kind of a big stickler on it, but
You do have a big stickler, I've heard. Anyway, welcome to the Practical Pistol Show.
you fucker.
My name's Ben. Here to answer your shooting questions. Tim Heron's drinking some beer.
Bourbon barrel quad.
Beer.
It's good stuff. Beer.
Just beer.
Just beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just beer.
Nick is also here. Nick the Dick.
I guess.
Who is not
Happy Tuesday.
Or
Thursday. Sorry.
It's Thursday for them. What day is it for Tuesday? Do you guys have a big week lined up?
My daughter celebrated her 12th birthday yesterday.
That's
We're
lame.
waiting until this coming weekend to go do. We're gonna go do an escape room.
With your daughter?
Yeah, she
Just
wants.
the two
It's
of
her
you?
idea. No, it's gonna be her and 2 or 3 of her friends.
Oh my god, get some adults in there, dude.
Well, it'll be with me as well,
No, you
and
need
my
more
oldest,
like
and my oldest son.
the more
My 18-year-old
intelligent
son.
adults you have there, the better.
Yeah.
Those things are no joke. They're hard usually.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I've
Have
never
you done
done
it-
one yet.
Have you done an escape room, Nick?
No, they sound interesting.
They're very interesting. Forget where we were. There was like an escape room in some, like I think in Hungary, kid who wanted to do one. I'm like, you understand you don't speak Hungarian. Like the clues in here, like you will not understand what's happening. Like there's no way. There's even stuff I've done escape rooms in Canada, and it's like there's stuff that they just culturally know, you know, and
Yeah.
and I have no clue. Like I have no clue about this. I don't
Oh
understand.
man.
We did an escape room with Gaston actually in Florida, and like he was useless because he's not American, so he doesn't culture like he doesn't. It's his second language, it's hard for him, and he's kind of
Right.
dumb, so it was like not good.
I didn't
we,
realize how
we
many
just
there
had
were
some open in
around Kansas
Greenville, so
City,
I can go check it out.
It's totally fun. It's like it's a good thing to do, but two people is not enough. I think you usually want more.
Like 4.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite things to do when I'm traveling. Honestly,
Really?
yes, because it's kind of like going to a movie, but like more entertaining, and it doesn't even matter if you don't have a great time. It's still entertainment. It's something to talk about. It's fun. It's a good thing to do. And after you do a few escape rooms, I don't know. I haven't done a ton. Maybe I've done like 15 of them, different
Wow.
rooms. And there's some I like, some I don't like. It was very interesting experiences. I've done. I did one that was like a time machine that was pretty cool. I did one that was a jail cell that you were locked in, but it was a whole jail house. So there was half your team was in one cell and half the team was in the other cell, and the clues were split between the cells, but you could not see each other. You had to pass stuff like around the wall. out of the bars, and then you had to like kind of scream communication at each other to try and figure this thing out.
So it's like real
What?
jail.
Yeah,
Like
it
a
was
jail-
kind of like
like a
real jail,
jailbreak. That's
except you
cool.
could escape in an hour.
Yeah.
Like that was a motherfucker of an escape room.
Cool. I'd love to. I've never done one. I've wanted to. And
Bring intelligent, diverse adults.
okay.
Not even necessarily intelligent. Like just bring people to communicate. But seriously, because like if there's just people who are different there, like you'll look at some puzzle and you could not figure it out in 10 years, but some other person looks at the same puzzle and in 3 seconds they got it. Like they just know it.
So it's
You
a
know
little bit like bar trivia in that way.
Yes, of course. Yeah, you need a diverse team. Very
Awesome.
similar. Yeah, so a bunch of
Awesome.
little girls will not be helpful.
Yeah.
They will not serve you well.
We'll have fun though.
They won't have fun. They're going to be very frustrated, I think. You know what I mean? If you have more adults there, like these little girls are going to freak out. Probably. If it's a hard room, they usually are pretty hard. Anyway.
Yeah.
What's your preferred method for unloaded table starts? You line up the mag with the magwell on the table and slap it in before picking it up, or do you pick up the gun in one hand, mag in the other, and load normally? Thanks. Tim, you're the master of the unloaded table starts. I've been seeing you on the Facebook.
I like unloaded table starts. It's kind of just a fun skill set to have. It's not super useful, but it is fun. It's cool. You can do it really good. So, I don't know. Looks good for Instagram, right?
Right. So, what's your secret? Are you?
I'm a pick up the gun in one hand and pick up the magazine in the other. And
Why
then
not?
perform.
It could be so gamer and so badass if you could like line it up on the table and kind of push it
Well,
together.
I think it also depends on what division you shoot.
It depends on the gun. Yes.
Right, it does. In single stack, that's not ever going to work because a single stack magazine lays completely flat on the table. So your chances of ever being able to slap the two together and make the magazine go into the magwell on a single stack gun is about that much. It just doesn't happen. So
For the audio people, Tim just held up his middle finger and
zero
pointed at the camera,
Yeah.
which I think is
It
chances
happens-
1 in
It's
100,
zero times.
Zero
It just
times.
doesn't work. So I pick the gun up with one hand, with my strong hand, pick up the magazine with a support hand, and then just basically perform a reload. So load the mag in the gun, rack it, get a grip, and start shooting. So I've seen guys like open guys will do that, but a lot of times it's because of the way the guns are propped up. Because they've got the slide rackers and all that kind of stuff that angles the gun in such a way that, especially with a big 170 millimeter long magazine that's tapered at the end of it, yeah, they can just slap those two together and go. And I mean, if I shot limited or open, or I had access to being able to play around with something like that, I'm sure I'd give that a shot and see how well it works. But I don't know. I can load a gun off the table and to first shot fired, at a 7-yard target in like 1.58 seconds, 1.55 seconds. So, I mean, I don't think there's really a whole lot there left to gain by trying many other ways.
Nick.
So I don't do this enough to where, like, I don't do it enough in matches to where I really care about practicing it, quite honestly.
Damn.
So what I
Like
do
that?
is
You don't care?
the only thing I care about with an unloaded start is making sure I rack that slide hard enough to actually get around into the chamber. Okay, so the few times I have done this in practice, I've tried to set a new speed record. If I short stroke my gun, I'll get around like nose high. I'm in a death jam situation. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good way to lose a match. All right. Mm-hmm. So like if I do this on average once every 3 major matches, like that, if I'm not like that good at it, that extra half second's not going to kill me in that match. But if I death jam the gun, it sure will kill me. So I make sure that
After
I
which
do
you'll
this.
kill yourself, it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. So I focus on deliberate motion, getting a gun loaded reliably as a top priority here, rather than trying to shave another quarter second off through practicing something a lot when I can spend that time on stuff that I actually do all the time. So that's kind of my thought on that.
My view is similar to Nick's. I would say it's worth practicing, just at least if you're doing some scenario training or working on some short course. For example, if I have a swinger out and I happen to be working on that and I make myself a little short stage, there's nothing wrong with starting my gun on the bed of my pickup truck and picking it up and loading it or something. As a little makeshift table there, or a table on your range. It's a useful start position to get used to, just as part of regular training. That's fine. You absolutely must be good at pick up the gun, load the gun, don't fuck it up, like Nick says. That's going to happen. It is very likely they might draw a dumb little box on the table or put a little marking where it's like your mag goes here and your gun goes over here. That's pretty normal, that sort of a thing. And that takes away the opportunity to do some sort of gamery by pushing the gun and mag together on the table. Or maybe it's like wooden planks make up the table, in which case that's pretty tough to push the thing together a lot of times. So you must be good at gun in one hand, magazine in the other, pick it up and load it. If you can get good at the other thing, that's a bonus. I'm not good at it. I don't care to be good at it. I think it's a waste of effort. But if that's something you want to do, it would look cool. Like imagine if a guy mastered this, he'd look cool on Instagram.
Yeah.
He'd look cooler than you, Tim. Probably if you got a low angle. I like how you use the low angles, by the way. It makes you look taller.
Exactly.
More powerful.
Exactly.
You show off the guns,
I'm strategic that way.
You actually do look pretty cool on Instagram. But if some guy makes an Instagram video where his gun and his magazine are laying on the table and he just like pushes them together, picks it up and like is shooting all ninja-fied, that's Barrett Fabrush level. It's true Exodus shit. You can't hang with that. That's Instructor Zero stuff. You're done.
Yep. Yep.
So that's something to keep in mind. So if you're looking to outshine Tim on Instagram, which is actually pretty hard to do, he's laying down some pretty good numbers now. But this would be one way to do it.
Absolutely.
You'd be cooler than Tim. All right. This one's pretty basic. I'd like to hear everyone's opinion on sight picture for iron sights. Do you like your point of impact to be above your front sight, right on the top edge of the sight, where it's split in half by it, or on the center of the, I would assume, fiber dot? I'm curious if there's a general consensus among top shooters or if it's just a taste thing. All of you guys hit the gun hits the top of the post, right?
Yeah.
All of us, yeah?
Yep.
I am just asking to confirm what I already know. That's the consensus.
Yeah.
Above the sight is weird. Like the bullet hitting appreciably above the sight's fucking weird. That's a bullseye thing. That's not for anything else. It's because of the way those targets are set. You know what I mean, guys?
Yeah,
they want to put their sight
dot
blade
the
on
eye,
the bottom.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them, I think you said it, so yeah, they just aim at the bottom of the circle so they get the full circle on top of the sight or whatever. We don't do that shit. And
don't Steel Challenge guys do that too, a little bit?
I don't know. Who gives a fuck? Really?
I don't know.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
Steel Challenge guys, I don't know what they do. It doesn't really matter. And the reason you wouldn't zero it in to hit the center of your dot is then you were like really covering up the spot you're trying to hit. And it's very difficult to hit precise spots. I know I shot 3-dot sights, zeroed for the center of the dot for my first 3 years in USPSA. I know.
What?
Yes.
Damn.
That's what I had, bro. I had a Beretta with that on it. So that's what's up. Yep. And I was like, why would I change these sights? These work fine. Gear doesn't matter. Why do these idiots think gear matters? Everyone tells me I'm stupid for using this pistol, but I know they're wrong because I'm smarter than everybody and gear doesn't matter. Right? So that was what was going through my head. What do you think about that, Tim?
Well,
I like it.
Did you have the ability to change? I mean,
yeah, oh, fuck, I could drift those out anytime I want.
So you just could have put a different height front or on there.
But Nick, gear doesn't matter. Pick a gun and practice.
Well,
that's what was in my brain.
All right. Fine.
In 2000, I could tell you the gear evolution. 2008, fiber front sight, flat black rear. I kind of liked it. It was okay.
How was it not just like obviously self-evident after, I don't know.
I was like, this is better. I was thinking this is better at hitting like little plates and shit that are far away because the sight's thinner. I like that. It's easier to kind of know where I'm at on the plates. It's a little bit shittier up close range. Because I don't have as vulgar of the 3 dots. Yeah, so I shot that setup, and then in 2013 I got a Tanfolio and set it up the same as my Beretta. Same gun, and the reason I mean, the same setup, same sights, flat black rear, fiber front sight. The
Okay.
only other significant change I made was going from red to green in fiber, because you pick up green better in low light.
I like green.
That's it. So that's
Yeah,
what
I
I was
agree with that.
thinking, because I'm stupid. Gear doesn't matter. What matters is skill and practicing.
Okay.
Yeah. So does it matter? Not really. Not in any appreciable way, but whatever.
Well, yeah, the way I think about it is like if I'm close enough to really use the dot, like to the exclusion of other parts of the sight picture, I don't really care. Like it doesn't matter. But any other time, I want to be able to see exactly where I'm shooting, so I want to use the very top of the front sight post.
Nick, you're smarter than I. Like I was.
I just hate rear sights with a lot of what I call visual noise. I despise anything with got like extra fiber in the rear or like 3-dot system type stuff where you got 2 dots on the rear side. I hate all that. Just give me a straight, flat, black rear sight.
The other thing, Nick, I really liked shooting a Beretta just like because so many people would not hesitate to tell me what a piece of shit gun it was. I was like, yeah, it was awesome.
You could have gotten a Taurus at any time if you just wanted to keep that train rolling.
Dude, I could. I don't know. Any question for the podcast. This is another Beretta-related question, I think. A decocker seems to be a much safer system for lowering a hammer on a double single gun. But am I missing something? Is there a reason I never see competitive shooters using these guns based on how it could influence technique? Or is it a detrimental effect on the performance of a weapon? So, a DASA gun, this guy thinks that it's self-evident that a decocker, so a mechanical decock thing like a SIG has, a Beretta, that just seems better than some guy grabbing the hammer and pulling the trigger on the gun that he does not intend to have go off right then and manually lowering the hammer. Well, he'd be right. That's definitely a better system. I don't know why they're not on more guns. I imagine it's because they're complicated mechanically.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I've never been familiar enough with the internals of a decocker equipped gun to know how they work mechanically, but
I've taken
heard,
them apart and I don't know how they work.
Really? Okay. I've heard that they are detrimental to trigger pull. Like if you want to go for an ultimately great trigger, they are detrimental in that instance. I don't know why. I think don't some CZs have them?
Yeah, I think so. I think as you add more mechanisms and shit onto the hammer and stuff, like more notches, more this and that, it does affect how smooth the double action pull will be for sure. I don't know about other stuff. I mean, it's not free, right? Like you add in a firing pin block, and that changes the trigger as well.
Yeah, so firing pin block detrimental to the trigger pull.
Right.
So I'm guessing decocker is maybe the same kind of deal, but yeah, I mean they're not found on competition guns. I assume there's a reason for that, probably trigger pull. But I definitely agree with the premise that it's safer. I mean, I would, if my gun had one, I would definitely use it. I would immediately stop. And I've literally never fired my gun off during a decock in practice or any other time, but I would, if I had a decocker, I would still definitely use it.
I've witnessed a few DQs in matches, people, dropping the hammer. I've seen, a handful more in classes, especially as people get going on drills and they're like, all right, shoot the drill, decock the thing, put it in the hole, yeah, so yes, you will have accidental discharges. I think a decocker is more sensible. But listen, it makes the trigger like an ounce heavier, maybe. So we can't have that shit.
Can't have that.
Can't have it. It's not happening. I mean, I think the reason we don't have decockers is because of the guns that they come attached to. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They come attached to Berettas and SIGs, which nobody's interested in, I guess. To be honest. If it's not a SIG 320.
There you go.
Those are pretty badass.
They are.
Right. You got the Uncle Sam seal of approval on those.
Absolutely.
So you know that it's good.
Not gonna lie, that X5 whatever looks pretty badass to me.
Which one's that? The X5 all around?
No,
No,
the
the
new
new plastic one,
P320
man.
X5.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. That's gay. The X5 all around's cool. What?
That's a limited gun, right?
No, the X5 all around is a production legal 226.
They do come in
Okay.
production legal configuration.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Basically, same trigger that's like in my 226 Legion, which is actually that's my first DSA gun. And I like it. I mean, it's fun to shoot.
Still have like
Not fun enough to like put it in a holster and go shoot production.
You don't.
But
I think you're just morally
it's fine.
opposed to production.
It might be. I don't know.
Which you should be. It's a stupid division. Obviously, it's the stupidest one there is. Right?
yeah. When are we gonna get some of that 15 round action? I mean,
It's not happening.
okay, that's fine.
Carry Optics got unlimited now, baby.
I would like to be honest. If Foley pulled me on changing production in any way, I would be like, no. And it doesn't even matter what I personally think. It's like, don't fuck with it now. It's like, what's done is done. Don't fuck around with it. That'd be.
Why would they have not at least gone to like 15 rounds for CO if they're gonna make a change? I mean,
Because I discussed this with our president as well. He feels that the 140 millimeter thing is more easily enforceable than having ROs count to 6, 8, 10, and 15. You know what I mean? He feels
okay.
that's simpler from an officiating perspective
When do they have to count to 6?
per revolver. In theory, they have to count to 6 for revolver major.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have to count, right?
No, they do not have to count.
It's
I don't
impossible to put more than that in the gun.
That's true. And they don't really, in theory, have to count to 8. I don't think they have to count at all because I've never seen anybody deliberately try and cheat doing this. Never seen
Yeah, I
somebody
haven't either.
overload their gun to cheat. I have seen people inadvertently overload their gun and get bumped to open promptly, but I've never seen it be done deliberately. So I don't think counting is in the mix, but that's just my opinion. So they feel like the 140 millimeter, like that's just more enforceable. I think probably as many people inadvertently use a magazine that doesn't quite fit the gauge, especially at a club level match, plenty of people will do that. Inadvertently use a magazine that doesn't quite work. About as many people do that as inadvertently put like the extra round into the magazine that they weren't supposed to.
Yeah, well, that's on a base pad maker. I mean, why are they making
No,
them
it's on
so
the
close to tolerance?
No, it's it's on you when you put it on your gun.
Well, that's fine, but the people who are making the base pads, why are they making them so close to that spec that you can?
Because that's what these
disengage?
motherfuckers want. They want that extra round. And then it's like, yeah, so you put it in there, make sure it's close, then you like take a Dremel to it.
Yeah, but we're talking probably a half a millimeter would clear up any kind of tolerance issues.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. But I mean, if I were a base pad maker, in theory, if I were selling base pads, this is way off in fantasy land now, obviously. And if you do want base pads, go to benstegerproshop.com. Anyway, I would want to sell the dude the maybe too long base pad and have him Dremel it down, then sell him the for sure fits base pad. You know what I mean?
That's a round too short.
I can always Dremel it down a little bit, but it's tough. It's tough for you to add material when you get into your house, and you might have different brands of magazines that are slightly changed in length. But that's just my opinion. I think the whole thing is fucking dumb. I would have just made it 15. Just put 15 in the shit, and you don't have to buy aftermarket base pads. But it's not my call. And it's not my division either. I don't give a shit. Really.
Another fair point.
What's that?
Me neither.
Another fair point.
Well, it's just like when we had our conversation last week when you're like, well, shot limited, nothing really changed. It's like, these guys are like, this changes everything, putting all these rounds in there. It's like, no, not really. It doesn't change shit. It's not gonna. The same fuckers are still gonna win. Like, it doesn't change anything. It's kind of like Nick when we shoot 15 round production as opposed to 10. Does that change anything? No.
Usually just doing like one reload per stage, but knocks
we do
out
a
a reload or two per
reloads,
stage.
obviously,
tops.
but
That's
it fundamentally changes nothing.
No.
It makes no difference.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't change who's going to win.
No, it's fucking pointless. Whatever. Anyway, guys, this was another bang up show. Listen, people, if you have a question about why there's no decockers on your gun, go to bensteger.com. Email me. Ask me about your cocker or decocker or whatever. We'll answer all your questions. What do you think, guys? Amazing show?
No, it's a good show.
I think
Great
people are
show.
going to love it. I better hit stop on the recording.